This is a picture of my niece. Now, why am I showing you a picture of my niece? Well, she's a happy-looking girl, right? Now look at those sad, terrified eyes. Happy kid? Sad, terrified, lonely person. Happy? Sad and terrified. And this is a piece of propaganda made for children by the Government of Canada in our COVID update newsletter for October 2020. We say the left cannot meme, but the memes of the left control the world we live in. The first meme of the left that I remember, one of my first red pills, was the Ban Bossy movement.
This is Ban Bossy. Take one.
Pushy. Stubborn. Pushy. Stubborn. Bossy. Bossy.
When I was growing up, I was called bossy.
I think the word bossy is just a squasher.
Being labeled something matters. By middle school,
Girls are less interested in leadership than boys.
And that's because they worry about being called bossy.
We need to tell them it's okay to be ambitious.
we need to help them lean in
Words matter.
Let's just ban the word bossy.
and encourage girls to lead.
To be strong and be ambitious.
Listen to your own voice. There are no limits.
Dare to be you.
You can change the world.
Let's ban bossy.
Be brave. Be you.
Ban bossy.
Join us to ban bossy.
I'm not bossy. I'm the boss.
Encourage girls to lead. Take the pledge at banbossy.com.
Suddenly, it was on commercials, in sports commentary, on shows I loved at the time, like Colbert or perhaps Jon Stewart.
So much for coming on. All right, you are the COO of Facebook. Before that, you worked at Google, were chief of staff at the Treasury Department, and economist at the World Bank. You're also a best-selling author and founder of LeanIn.org, and you got a new book called Lean In for Graduates. Okay, first of all, tell me, I hear a lot about this lean in thing, okay? Well, can anybody lean in, or do only women lean in?
No, anyone can lean
Anyone
in.
can lean in.
And we like it when men do it as well.
How do men and women lean in differently?
Well, they lean in for the same reason, maybe differently. They lean in to create a better world, which would be a more equal world.
It was the first time that I witnessed an obnoxious social justice progressive narrative being pushed on such a large scale. Ban Bossy had only a mild impact, particularly as it contrasted to Tyra Banks' popular fierce persona at the time and the managerial aspirations of the feminist clique.
Well, I wanted to ask about, I think there's something to be said for boss haircuts. You've worn your hair every length, but do you think there's a bossiest, most powerful length?
I do think this probably gets me taken more seriously. Maybe not too sexy in the boardroom.
Like there's a certain length where you're bringing too much sex?
No, there's a certain, I wouldn't say length, it's more of like too much in the eyes is probably a little too much. You don't want to distract your people that might be attracted to you. And when are you going to cut your hair?
Well, I want that extra push. Like I want my boss haircut, and I feel like I haven't arrived yet until I get that haircut.
But do you think there's a bossiest, most powerful length?
All of the online sources say that the Ban Bossy movement was launched by Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook, in 2014. This was part of the Lean In campaign, a set of hashtag campaigns started by Sheryl Sandberg. Now, as the COO of Facebook, it's hard to get more openly manipulative and propagandistic than social media executives using their own platforms to push hashtag agendas. But hey, that's become Twitter's sole purpose. Their trending section is more mindfully pruned than a bonsai tree.
Do I tell her that despite her education, her drive, her skills, her intelligence, she will automatically be valued as less than every man she ever meets?
Commercials, too, for products from cars to razor blades have adopted these social justice themes, presumably because being passable takes a hell of a lot of shaving. Disney has moved on from cartoons to corrupt all it touches in the sports world and all the way to the History Channel.
And could you reproduce the meme for us to the camera? Thank you very much.
I would like to say, though, about the meme that there is a difference between the meme and me. Because, first of all, I have never said that everything was built by aliens in the past.
And we will neither forget nor get into the mainstream media. But in recent years, one notorious figure's contribution to the pop culture zeitgeist have been highly underrated.
Are we going to ask you to support another campaign about empowering women and girls? Absolutely.
Because if everyone in the world thought of themselves as global citizens, it would help make sure that women and girls receive the education, opportunity, and respect they deserve.
Only global citizens can make global change.
Bill Gates.
Hello, useless eaters.
His TED Talk is often mentioned among vaccine skeptics and has been seen in my Final Revolution series. However, it's Gates' supposed philanthropy that is his preferred method of getting things done. And while most assuredly some good does get done with the money that he donates and gives away, I have only grown increasingly more certain that he has nefarious plans afoot. Frankly, and I can only hope that my suspicions are right and that his eugenics plot will focus particularly on some trouble spots much more than the rest of the world.
Let's go to a couple questions that we've actually received since we started the webcast. The first is on population growth, and the question is, one of our most pressing issues is population growth. How do you expect this to be addressed?
Well, the population growth issue at the global level is not that daunting. That is, the population percentage-wise is growing slower today than in the past, and so it will actually peak out. The problem is that the population is growing the fastest where people are less able to deal with it. So it's in the very poorest places that you're going to have a tripling in population by 2050. And so their ability to feed, educate, provide jobs, stability, protect the environment in those locations mean they're faced with an almost impossible problem. Northern Nigeria, Yemen, Chad. And so what we need to do is take this aid generosity and this innovation and go into those places, offer the women better tools where they want to space birthing or have a smaller family size. And so it's really an acute problem in a certain number of places, and we've got to make sure that we help out with the tools now so that they don't have an impossible situation later.
Bill Gates, the ultimate race realist. He read the Turner Diaries and figured he could do one better. Similarly, we hear the idea that minorities here in the Western world should be the first in line for vaccines. And after all, it's been mentioned on this channel before that Bill Gates' father was head of Planned Parenthood.
When I was growing up, my parents were always involved in various volunteer things. My dad was head of Planned Parenthood, and it was very controversial to be involved with that.
He believes that overpopulation will end the world and cause massive suffering in the process.
And the answer is that until we get near to zero, the temperature will continue to rise. And so that's a big challenge. It's very different than saying, we're a 12-foot high truck trying to get under a 10-foot bridge, and we can just sort of squeeze under. This is something that has to get to zero. It's an average about 5 tons for everyone on the planet. And somehow we have to make changes that will bring that down to zero. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
This is his way of helping. He intends to, and this is what I believe, he intends to improve the life of Africans and pretty much everybody in the third world that is alive now. He wants them to live out the rest of their lives and for them to have a few children and for them to have a few children, but for generally those populations to decline in a managed way. And they'll do this through the MasterCard Trust Stamp program in partnership with Microsoft, signing African people up and people all over the world for a digital ID under the Trust Stamp program, and they'll offer monetary incentive, and it's part of a financial system as well. It's a biometric ID, and it's going to be attached to all of your medical records. But get this, look at what this says. From the Microsoft website, MasterCard Microsoft join forces to advance digital identity innovations. MasterCard and Microsoft today announced a strategic collaboration to improve how people manage and use their digital identity. Currently, verifying your identity online is still dependent on physical or digital proof managed by a central party, whether it's your passport number, your proof of address, driver's license, user credentials, or other means. This dependence places a huge burden on individuals who have to successfully remember hundreds of passwords for various identities and are increasingly being subjected to more complexity in proving their identity and managing their data. Working together, MasterCard and Microsoft aim to give people a secure, instant way to verify their digital identity with whomever they want, whenever they want. Today's digital identity landscape is patchy, inconsistent, and what works in one country often won't work in another. We have an opportunity to establish a system that puts people first, giving them control of their identity data and where it is used, says Ajay Bala, President, Cyber and Intelligence Solutions, MasterCard. Working with Microsoft brings us one step closer to making a globally interoperable digital identity service a reality, and we look forward to sharing more very soon. And on the Gavi Vaccine Alliance website, we can see their donations from MasterCard under the banner of efficiently delivering vaccines to millions of children, tracking identity and immunization records in a digitized manner, and incentivizing the delivery of vaccines. Incentivization is money, and it's travel, it's rights. The new set of rights that only properly vaccinated global citizens will have. Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, leading partner and catalyst, and MasterCard, acting in the capacity of technological partner, have embarked in a public-private partnership aimed at deploying the MasterCard Wellness Pass for interested Gavi-eligible countries on December 2018. So this is something that is already in effect. We aren't just starting with digital identification and all that now. It's already been in operation for at least a year now. This partnership aims to leverage state-of-the-art technology by bringing the smart into the traditional immunization programs for optimal impact in terms of reach, adherence, efficiency, and centralized record keeping of children immunizations. MasterCard is a technology company in the global payments industry committed to leading the way toward a world beyond cash. TM, by the way, that's a trademarked phrase. But hey, cash-free society, that's just a conspiracy theory. You know, it's really hard for us to have all of these different digital identities. And wouldn't it be easier if we just had one digital identity and one password to remember? Yeah, the purpose of trust stamps is to get rid of anonymity. We've known this is coming for a long time. Well, this is how. And it'll start with the vaccine IDs. Like I said, I don't think the vaccines are meant to harm the living. That would only attract attention, and it would be a cruel and evil act, not a moral, ethical, and virtuous act. Bill and the globalists will, I think, make everybody's lives better while taking away their future. Don't forget to spay and neuter your global citizen.
All right, you are the COO of Facebook. Before that, you worked at Google, were chief of staff at the Treasury Department, and economist at the World Bank.
The coronavirus is still on everyone's minds, so don't forget to wash your minds.